In this video, we are going to learn about how to find the GCD of two strings. How to find the GCD of two strings. GCD stands for greatest common divisor. So the problem is you are given string 1 which is ABC, 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 and you are given string 2 which is ABC. Now having a look at string 1 and string 2, we know that string 2 is the GCD which divides both string 1 and string 2 completely. How can we do this programmatically? The solution to this problem is, first of all, you must know about Euclidean algorithm. First of all, you must know about Euclidean algorithm. What is Euclidean algorithm? Euclidean algorithm is used to determine or find the GCD of two given numbers. Given number 1 and number 2. Using Euclidean algorithm, you can find the GCD easily. However, you may think, what is the application of Euclidean algorithm in case of strings? There is an application. How it works is, first we calculate the remainder. First we calculate the remainder to be number 1 mod number 2. Then we do number 1 is equal to number 2. That is, we assign num2 to num1, and at last num2 is assigned to the value of remainder. And this will go on. This will go on in a loop as long as num2 is greater than 0. And when the loop ends, GCD is your num1. So this is all about Euclidean algorithm. In case of strings, first there are two properties that you must check. In order to find GCD of two strings, there are two properties that one must be aware of. First is the commutative check. It says a GCD of two string exists if and only if concatenation of string 1 plus string 2 is strictly equal to concatenation of string 2 plus string 1. This is the first property. And the second property is, once we are sure that the GCD exists, then we must get the length of the prefix. Once we get the length of the prefix, you just extrapolate substring starting from 0 to that prefix length, and that becomes your GCD of a string. What I mean by that? Prefix length What I mean by that is, prefix length is equal to, we call our Euclidean algorithm function and pass in string 1 dot length and string 2 dot length. Now let us say, in case of these two strings, it will return the prefix length to be 3. Then the GCD is equal to string 1 dot substring starting from 0, and it will go up till string length which is 3. And if you take a close look at, that becomes starting from 0 This is 0, 1, 2. So the GCD becomes ABC. Hence, two things you must remember in order to calculate GCD of two strings. First, do the commutative check, that is, GCD for given two strings exists if and only if concatenation of string 1 with string 2 is strictly equal to concatenation of string 2 with string 1. If GCD exists, what is the prefix length that one must know in order to get the actual GCD string? That can be calculated by giving a call to our helper function Euclidean algorithm and passing the length of both the strings, string 1 and string 2. Once you get the length of the prefix, then GCD is as good as string 1 dot substring starting from 0, and it will go up till the prefix length, which is 3, and in our case string 1 and string 2, the GCD becomes ABC. So this sounds good. Now let us implement this. Now let us implement this programmatically to verify that whatever we have theoretically said, that holds or not. Let me go to the terminal. I'll create a new file, GCDofStrings. Inside this file, first let me define the function GCDofStrings. This function takes in two arguments, string 1 and string 2. String 1 and string 2. Initially, what we do, we say GCD of two string exists if and only if the concatenation of string 1 with the concatenation of string 2 is strictly equal to concatenation of string 2 and string 1. So here we say if GCD exists, then we call our Euclidean algorithm helper function. If GCD doesn't exist, in that case, we return an empty string. Let us write the logic for our Euclidean algo helper function. Euclidean algo. So this takes Euclidean algo. This takes two numbers. Let us call that number as a comma p. Then first we calculate the remainder. This remainder will be calculated as long as b is greater than 0. What we do? We calculate the remainder. Let remainder is equal to a mod d, and then we assign a is equal to b and b is equal to a. And at last, when the loop ends, we return a, which is our GCD. So here, what we will do is, we will call our Euclidean algo helper function. So const prefix length is equal to Euclidean algo. Call this with, let us find which is the largest string that will go in as the value of a. How do we do that? So here we will check const str1.length, const string1 length, or let me just call this m is equal to str1.length and const n is equal to str2.length. Once we have this, So what we are going to do next is we'll assign the value of a. Const a is equal to, if m is greater than n, return m, else n. So here we have, I think this will be complicated. Instead of this, let's do this part. Since for Euclidean algorithm function, a must always be greater than b. So how can we calculate that? A must always be greater than b. Let us verify that. Let c equal to something. Then here we define let, for the simple way is let a comma b comma c. Then we assign a is equal to string 1 dot length, b is equal to string 2 dot length. Here we check if a is less than b. If a is less than b, then c is equal to, so we are going to now swap a with b. C is equal to a, then b, a, sorry, b is equal to a and a is equal to b. I think something is wrong. So we are checking if a is less than b, right? Then c equal to a, b is equal to a and a. No, then c is equal to b. Then a is equal to c. Once this is done, then we call EuclideanAlgo with a comma b. So this will give us the prefix length. Let me define at the global level a variable called as GCD. Let GCD is equal to empty string. Let GCD equal to empty string. So GCD is equal to str1 dot substring starting from 0 and it will go up till the prefix length. Here just one thing is remaining. GCD strings is equal to, in case of EuclideanAlgo also, is equal to. And now at last we will call GCDOfStrings, passing string1 to be ABC, 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 and string2 equal to ABC. Let me format the code. Skip. So the code is formatted. WQ, no. If some error comes, we are going to sort that as well. Okay, I knew it. Passed GCDOfStrings, got it. Arrow functions. GCDOfStrings is equal to insert. Okay, insert. Come on, give me GCD of two strings. The code is not returning, that means something is wrong. So we are calling GCD of strings with two values ABC, ABC. Yes, the code is returning, but we are not capturing that. So const result equals console.log GCD of two strings is resubbed. Also, we have missed a return statement here. Once we have the GCD, then we say return GCD. Escape, V, select the code, click on the plus sign, your code is indented, then WQ, save the file, and at last run the code. GCDofStrings.js. Still the code is not returning a valid value. Let me just check what is missing. So here we are checking A string1.length, B string2.length. If A is less than B, C is equal to B, then B is equal to A, and A is equal to C. Okay, then we call PrefixLength. While B is greater than 0, A is equal to B. Here, B is not equal to A, B should be equal to remainder. So this was the missing part. Now let me run it again. So it says GCD string prefix length is not defined. Okay, there is spelling mistake. PH. So here we have GCD of two strings is AVC. We can also check it for say non-existing. Let us call it. Here we have, in this case GCD exists, hence it is returning ABC. Let me just do this. Now there should not be. The GCD should be an empty string. Here it is, GCD of two strings is empty strings. So what we have done is, first we looked at this part wherein step 1 was doing the commutative check, which we have done it in the code. So in the code, this is where we are doing the commutative check. Once we have did the commutative check, if that is valid, that is GCD exists, then we call our EuclideanAlgo helper function. Now in this function, the EuclideanAlgo requires the length of A must always be greater than B. Hence here we check assign A equal to string1.length, B equal to string2.length, and we check if A is less than B, then we swap the value of A with B. After that, we call our EuclideanAlgo helper function, passing in A and B. This returns the prefix length. Once we have the prefix length, we call str1.substring, or you can also use str2. Since the commutative check passes, you can take a substring either from str1, string1 or string2. Starting from 0, given the prefix length, you will return the GCD. If the GCD does not exist, we return an empty string, which we have verified by running our code. In this case, the GCD does not exist, hence there is an empty string. However, in the previous case, the GCD was existing, hence it was AVC. So this is how you get or write the logic to get GCD of two strings. So I hope you would have learned something valuable. If yes, please do like, share and subscribe. Thank you.